Let's turn our attention to Carlton. Now, there was I don't know, you guys we were commentating, but there was a sense of resignation, I thought, about this. Yeah, I mean, we've seen over the years the vitriol and the anger, and it just almost feels like the Carlton fans are, okay, this is where we're at right now. There's not much going to change between now and the end of the year. This is Brad Lloyd and Brian Cook and Graham Wright and the president there as well, Priestley, yeah. So, I mean, their conversations, of course, they've got 6, 7 games to play out the season. Obviously, Graham Wright's going to take over as the CEO from Brian Cook in the middle of August, so he's getting into the job earlier, and I think you can imagine what the conversations are right now. You know, how we're going to have to make changes. How deep do we cut? I don't know whether you make those decisions straight after a game, but they're in a situation now where for the last 3-4 weeks they've been the front and back page story, and there was a stage there when they kicked, when the Collingwood Footy Club kicked 8 goals in that third quarter. It looked like it was going to be, arguably 100 points, and they're going to be front and back again. But in the end, I think, as you said, Bucks and Geordie and Brownie, it's kind of the result we expected coming in.
Well, they came up against the most organised, most composed team in the competition, and they weren't vulnerable. So in the end, Collingwood were able to impose themselves on a team that is vulnerable at the moment. And these conversations are taking place behind closed doors in front of it. But what we need to reiterate is the president has come out and said that Vossi will finish this season. So there's no question about the coach's tenure in 2025. The players are really clear on that. The staff are really clear on that. So there should be enough room to be able to perform and try and find better. Yeah. So that's their challenge. They weren't able to... Well, were they better tonight? No, not really. Maybe there was a little bit early. Charlie Curnow was definitely up and about. He was a little better.
Their effort was better.
They are what they are, though.
Their effort.
Correct.
They are what they are. And they are a horrible kicking football side. Yeah. Horrible. And that goes from the top down. Adam Cerra is butchering the footy today. And then you see Cooper, and we don't pick on Cooper Lords of the world. But if you want to be an A-grade footballer, you want to survive long enough to have a career in footy, you can't kick in the manner that they kick. And that's becomes a list analysis decision that they're going to have to make.
And it's a flow-on effect. I mean, how do you predict further afield if the kicks aren't hitting the target? You can't then make the next decision. Then so the flow-on effect is huge. I think you're right. It seemed like there was a resignation just about near three-quarter time. The crowd had left. The energy got sucked out of the place. I mean,
didn't the crowd empty out?
Yeah, Zach Williams was the highest-rated player on the ground for Carlton. He only played 3 quarters. He got subbed out. Yeah. Sometimes it's effort without a little bit of direction. And this was three-quarter time when Voss grabs the leaders and just trying to get some direction and leadership out on the field from his most senior players. But I think the damning thing and the thing that we've showed time after time is their midfield mix. Now, they were just wiped off the park in terms of post-clearance stuff. So post-clearance contested possession, they were minus 27. Yeah. That's their second worst in 5 and 6 years. So they just can't spread, they can't link up, they can't kick. So there's so many parts of their game at the moment that aren't where they need to be.
And they're against the deepest midfield next week against Brisbane.
They are.
It's Thursday.
I've got to say, Vossi's done, like, in the last 8 quarters of footy that his team and his players have put up, the composure that he's maintained and that he hasn't got frustrated or angry or disappointed. I mean, obviously there's some disappointment there, but he's maintained his composure, his demeanour, to give his players every opportunity. Because it would be really easy to drop your bundle, I reckon, as a coach in this position.
The North Melbourne game, three-quarter time, he gave.
Oh yeah, and that was.
I'm not saying he lost his cool.
No, that might have been directed and pointed. But how many times you can't go to the well like that? Address after address after address. He maintained his composure so well last week. Yeah, and almost to the point where you're wondering, where is the emotion? But I've got no doubt it's there. But even that conversation to his leaders, it was matter of fact, it was pointed. There was probably some questions about, can we do this better? Can you do that better? Yeah. You guys need to drive this because, as we said before the game, he can't go out and get his hands dirty, which he would have if he could. No. But, I don't know what more you can do as a coach there.
Yeah, well, he would, if he goes the other way, is you're just loading anxiety on to players like Lord and Hollands and Evans and Motlop who were butchering the footy for most of the night. So that's not going to help.
The butchering the footy is that conversation going forward because now it's an ingrained problem, isn't it, really, since we spoke about this prelim, but that was a long time ago now, and they've only been able to beat poor sides, and even those sides they lost against in the last few weeks, they were going ordinary at the time, the Sydneys and the GWS at the time. So you need to look at it from a recruiting point of view. What are you putting a premium on as far as what you're drafting? So clearly the kicking talent's not there, and also from a coaching development standpoint, what are you doing to improve these guys and to help these guys along? And clearly there's no belief out there as well. So that makes for a really bad mix, doesn't it? An ordinary combination. So I think it's a holistic approach that obviously Graham Wright, with that recruiting background, is going to get his hands dirty on. Because they need to fix that. Because to me, I come to the footy and I'm invested because Vossi's a great mate of mine. I've got a daughter who barracks for Carlton. I don't know how. But so I watch them closely and I find myself getting frustrated coming to the football because I feel like I already know what the outcome's going to be. Because I can't see these guys that are subpar kickers at this level, all of a sudden on this stage in front of 80,000 people against the best team in the comp, all of a sudden start lacing blokes out.
But it's more than footy skills, mate. It's what we're seeing is more than football skills.
Yeah, I know that. But there is it's been going for a long time now. So it's the combination of the skill level, the coaching, no question about that. Obviously a bit of belief sprinkled in there, but it is an ingrained problem now. Like I just don't think. Do you think they're a talented kicking list?
No.
Just with
I don't.
Just in the wrong program.
But not every player that's will play senior football in an AFL team is an elite kick. You've still got important roles to play, and that's not happening. There's no synergy. There's no efficiency.
But you've got to be limited
on
how many of those numbers are.
So these conversations are big. That was such an interesting press conference. There's two strategies, I reckon, in that moment, and Michael Voss inflamed the crisis rather than smothered it. So he's prepared to say what was it? It was as blunt as could possibly be his assessment of what happened tonight. Pretty important conversation to be had. We let our club down tonight. You can't tolerate that. So you can deflect to that's the best team in the competition. We've been shown how far we are from that mark and how much work we do. But I think he's sort of run headlong into, you say headlong into the fire. He's run headlong into the crisis, I think. John Rell,
he's never been a deflector, though.
Never. And so I half admire him for it, but it does, like, the oxygen that provides. So you've covered a lot of these things, Ralphie. What do you think?
Yeah, it feels inevitable right now. And the last thing that you need to still give those fans out there is a little bit of hope that I know what the hell I'm doing. Whereas I think that if you're listening to that Michael Voss press conference there, started to blame people around him, started to blame potentially the leaders there. If you're a Carlton fan, you're thinking, I'm not sure that Michael Voss has the answers. I'm not sure that Michael Voss has any way out of this. And that's a really worrying thing if you're Graham Wright.
Do you think you saw him as a blame? Oh, I didn't see that as a blame. You've been in that situation, so you talk about it, mate, because I'm trying to be as objective as I can. I thought he was pretty reasonable there. You know, he's taken a lot of responsibility on board.
I thought at the end, too much responsibility.
Yeah, well, that's right. Exactly. If he sits there and doesn't put anything onto anyone else, especially the leaders, well, that's when the Carlton supporters roll their eyes, and that's when they question Vossi's credentials as a coach and go, mate, what are you doing? What are you watching out there?
So what's the back page headline there? We let the club down. You know, that's not, as you say, that's not we've got answers. That's not just give us a couple of weeks to stabilise. We'll get a couple of our stars back and we'll bounce hard. We know what we're doing. We know what we're trying. You know, we're putting in extra skill acquisition lessons.
That is the truth. They did let the club down, and they have for the last 3 weeks. Yeah. And he said, we can't hang our hat on front half, our getting the ball into our front half more often. We can't hang our head on being the contested possession beasts or the clearance beasts that we were early in the year in the last 3 weeks. So we're not going to do that. We have let the club down with the way that we've gone about it.
Sometimes the honesty is not the best policy when you're a coach out there, because you let them down last week, you're probably going to let them down next week against Brisbane, and after a while there, we say, well, maybe someone can come in there that that's not going to let us down because they're new blood.
Yeah, that's not the history of it, though. It is worth recounting the litany of woe across 2 generations. Is Carlton has tried. They've tried the saviour figure. They've tried the master coach. They've tried the favourite son. Then they went back to the saviour. Then they went to the untried. Then they tried the untried again. And then Michael Voss, who's such a generational figure. And he's still got the best win-loss percentage of that group. This is what makes them so fascinating. They have tried everything in that lineup.
Well, the sense that I have, and I can't confirm this in any way, is that over a period of time, you've created talented players who feel entitled at that football club, and they haven't been able to get to a point where they work hard enough when the game isn't going their way to find a way through it. And if the talented players feel that, then it rubs off on everyone in the team. It rubs off on everyone else under the club if they're not challenged in the right manner. I have no evidence of that, but that's what it looks like to me. And I don't know how you unravel that with the incumbent leadership. And that's not just Vossi. There's other people in the football department as well, because it seems to me like there's just not enough expectation or pressure on the highest paid, highest talented players in that club to perform.
Yeah. All right. Adam Chera down in the Carlton rooms. Cam Mooney caught up with them.
Adam, thanks very much for your time, mate. We were just talking off air and we're just saying, just got to get straight back into work.
Yeah, obviously, performance tonight not good enough. Especially again, touch up in a few areas that we like to pride ourselves on. So, yeah, we take full responsibility. We know the fans and supporters are hurting, and so are we. We're sticking together, and we just simply have to get better. We'll get back to work on Sunday, and yeah, we've got 7 more weeks to go, and we're going to try to get something out of each week.
What was the message from Vossi after the game?
Yeah, as I said before, it's simply not good enough. And we put that on us players, and we take full responsibility of that. Yeah, there's no shying away or making excuses. We just need to be better in the contest, both in the air and on the ground. So, yeah, we'll review and have some honest conversations during the week. And, yeah, we just got to keep bringing the right mindset, sticking together, and just continually try and improve and get better each week and get something out of this season.
Do the players, as a playing group, have you already, or will you sit down as a group and just say, you know, coach is out, just players, and just say basically what you've been talking about, just stick together as a group? Because the only way is out is sticking together. We've all been there, and the only way you can do it is together.
Yeah, we sit down every week as players, and we discuss different things on field, off field, and yeah, they're the important chats. We're the ones out there that can make a real difference, and you know, we take full responsibility, as I said. Yeah, we're going to find different ways to keep getting better. That's what the competition's telling us, and we need to step up both during the week to set ourselves up on game day. Hopefully have a good finish and set ourselves up.
Yeah, well, as you said, the great thing about footy is there's always next week, and you've got a short turnaround, 6 days, you come up against Brisbane. So just, you know, you've really got to look forward to that, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, every week's an opportunity, not just for the 4 points, but to improve and get better and, you know, strengthen this club and this team and the direction that we want to go forward in. So, yeah, it starts tonight for us, our recovery, the way we show up to work, the way we support each other, the way we fight these 7 weeks out and get the most out of it.
Thanks for your time, man. Really appreciate it, brother.
No worries. Thanks, Moons.